Ever notice how some cultures just, like, really know how to celebrate? Well, get ready to dive into one that takes the cake, because today we're exploring the heart of Russian New Year's traditions. And trust me, it's way more than just another ball drop.
Oh, absolutely.
We're digging into this super interesting article called Hold On, The Magic of New Year's Celebrations in Russia.
Yeah.
There we go. And let me tell you, it is absolutely packed with fascinating insights about why this holiday is so deeply, like, intertwined with Russia's identity.
Yeah, it's like their Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve, and Christmas all rolled into one, isn't it?
Seriously, it's
Yeah,
a pretty big deal.
huge.
Okay, so the article mentions Tsar Peter the Great, the Tsar, shifting the New Year celebration to January 1st. And, like, on the surface, that might seem like, whatever, just to be more in line with Europe. But was there something more to it?
It was a power move.
A power move, really.
Oh, yeah. Peter the Great, I mean, he was all about modernizing Russia, right?
Yeah.
Aligning it with the West and changing the calendar. Well, that was symbolic of that ambition. It's interesting, though, how that seemingly small change ended up intertwining with some even bigger shifts later on.
Because then the Bolsheviks show up with a whole different agenda entirely, right?
Yeah.
And the article talked about how they basically took a lot of those Christmas traditions and just kind of, like, absorbed them into New Year's.
Exactly. I mean, imagine the upheaval of shifting an entire holiday's significance like that. It wasn't just changing dates on a calendar. They were reshaping how people experienced celebration, faith, even family time.
Wow. So speaking of these, like, unique blends of old and new, let's uncover some of the more fascinating traditions that make Russian New Year so special. We've got the Yolka, like their version of the Christmas tree, but instead of Santa, there's Dead Moroz. Can you, like, paint us a picture of this festive fellow?
Okay, picture like a grandfatherly figure, long flowing blue coat, often trimmed with fur.
Okay, I'm with you.
But he's not just some jolly, gift giver. Dead Moroz is rooted in winter folklore. He's a symbol of the magic and, sometimes the harshness of the season. And he's often accompanied by his granddaughter, Snegorochka, who brings a touch of whimsy and light to the celebrations.
And they're not just, like, popping down chimneys either.
Right.
The article mentions this really interesting tradition, writing down wishes, burning them, and then, well, this is where it gets a little wild, drinking the ashes with champagne at midnight.
It does sound a bit unusual when you put it like that.
Just a tad.
But think about it. It's a powerful ritual. It's about letting go of the past, embracing the unknown, and hoping for a brighter future.
Yeah.
You're literally infusing your toast with those aspirations.
It's like taking New Year, New You to a whole other level when you're drinking your wishes. But this whole, like, hope and renewal thing, it's not just happening at home with the family, right?
Yeah.
The article also talked about these huge public celebrations.
Oh, absolutely. Think like bustling streets, but transformed into winter wonderlands. And you've got families gathering for these massive feasts and then the grand finale.
Okay, the fireworks?
Yeah, fireworks over Red Square. They're incredible.
I bet. They must be more than just a show, though, right? I mean, what did the article say about their significance?
It's all about national pride. That shared experience that just unites everyone. Imagine standing there, surrounded by thousands of people, all looking up at this incredible display. It's about feeling connected to something much bigger than yourself, a shared history.
It makes you wonder what it would be like to be in that crowd, to feel that energy.
Yeah.
Speaking of shared experiences, though, the article also talked about this film, The Irony of Fate. Apparently, it's, like, a really big deal in Russia this time of year.
Yeah, it's become a tradition for a lot of families. Like here in the States, some families will always watch It's a Wonderful Life, right? It's similar to that. Imagine, cozying up with your loved ones, sharing some laughs, heartwarming moments, all with this familiar story playing in the background.
So it sounds like it's not even about the film itself, really, but more about the act of everyone coming together to watch it year after year. That reinforces those family bonds. It seems like food plays a pretty central role in all of this too, right? The article mentioned these incredible feasts.
Oh, for sure. Think tables just laden with traditional Russian dishes.
Yeah.
Recipes passed down over generations. It's time for everyone to come together, share stories, make memories around the table.
Okay, but what kind of dishes are we talking about? Paint the picture for me. What might we find at one of these Russian New Year's feasts?
Get ready for some serious flavor. You might find Olivier salad. It's a potato salad, but with this creamy dressing. Or maybe kolodets, which is a savory meat jelly.
Interesting.
And of course, you can't forget the pelmeni, those little dumplings. filled with meat or cheese.
Man, it's making me hungry just thinking about it. So we've got the Yolka, Dead Moroz, fireworks, these heartwarming films, and all that incredible food. It's amazing how every tradition just adds another layer to this rich tapestry of, like, history and culture.
It really strikes me that by really diving into this topic, we've uncovered so much more than just how Russians celebrate their new year. We're seeing the why, like why these traditions mean so much to them,
Yeah.
how they reflect deeper values. Right. It's the best part of exploring different cultures, I think. We're not just, learning about a holiday, but getting this amazing window into like the Russian soul. You see their resilience, their love of family, how deeply connected they are to their history.
It's like that wishes in the champagne thing we talked about. Kind of a funny visual when you describe it like that.
Totally.
But underneath, it's this really beautiful ritual about new beginnings, about like infusing hope into the future.
Yeah.
And they found this really unique way of expressing that.
And the fact that these traditions have survived through so much change, from Tsarist Russia to the Soviet era and now, that's powerful. The spirit of Russian New Year is still going strong.
Really makes you think about the traditions we hold dear. What might someone from a totally different culture find interesting or maybe even strange about the way we celebrate things?
It's a great question. Maybe it's time we all did a little deep dive into our own traditions, see what we can uncover.
Totally agree. And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I definitely encourage you to do a little exploring of your own. Maybe even raise a glass of something bubbly this New Year's, with or without the burnt wishes, to the power of traditions. Thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the unexpected.